So, namaste. Warmly welcome to our live webinar stream with Balakhilya. My name is Ruben, representing Yoga Meditation at Stream, and we are a bunch of meditation schools in UK, Norway, and Canada cooperating to stream those webinars for you. And tonight, our Yoga Master Balakhilya will speak on the topic of, is there an ideal society? So, many of you may have been on our streams before, but Balakhilya is a yoga master who lived this bhakti yoga lifestyle for a very long time and sharing it with others in every way that he and we can, now mostly online. So yeah, happy to have you here, and thank you so much, Balakhilya, for joining us tonight again.
All right, Ruben, thank you very much for another invitation. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, same.
So since our time is short, as usual, we'll get right to it. First, I'd like to offer my respectful obeisances to my spiritual masters, Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. And I speak from the platform of Bhakti Yoga, so keep that in mind as the lecture progresses. Now, in Bhakti Yoga, we do a lot of meditation. And the type of meditation we do is mantra meditation. Mantras are transcendental sounds or spiritual sounds that come to us from the spiritual world. When we contact this transcendental sound vibration, we get great spiritual benefit automatically. So we're going to begin with an easy meditation that we can all take part in. I'm sure some of you, maybe most of you, have done this with us before. But if not, I'll explain it very briefly. The mantra we'll be using is the mantra Gauranga, divided into 4 syllables, Go, Ra, Anga. It's a deep breathing process. We begin by taking a very deep breath in through the nose all the way down to the lower abdomen. Big inhale. And as we inhale silently in the mind, we chant Go, Ra, Anga in a soft and gentle way. When the body fills with air, we begin to exhale, and out loud we chant Go, Ra, Anga. And then we repeat. Inhale, Gauranga in the mind. Exhale, Gauranga out loud. Before we begin, we want to relax the face, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, and the mind. To help us relax, we take a big breath in and let it back out through the nose. With the outgoing breath, let your anxiety, tension, frustration go away. While we do the meditation, we want to listen closely to the sound and also put the mind on the sound. In other words, meditate on the sound. Also, once you've learned the mantra, I suggest you close your eyes. This helps us to relax more deeply and also prevents any distraction. If you like, you can join the thumb and first finger because this also triggers a relaxation response in the body and promotes the circulation of energy. When we finish the meditation, sit quietly for a few moments, eyes remaining closed, and feel the effect. All right, so I want everybody to get comfortable. Just follow my guidance. Everybody take a big breath, let it out, and relax. Now, very slowly, gently, and deeply inhale and chant Goranga in the mind. Two more times. Haribol. Okay, you can see this is a very easy meditation to do and also very relaxing. And it's something you can add to your life. See, it's very excellent to start your day doing this meditation. In the day, just before sleep with the meditation. But of course, you can do it anytime. So, now you have the mantra, you have the technique, and you can use it as you will. All right, so all the information I'll present is based on the teaching of the Vedic scriptures. Vedas are the most ancient scriptures, having been written down 5,000 years ago. But, the knowledge itself is eternal. So, prior to being written down, it was passed down orally from one perfect master to the next. This is known as a line of disciplic succession or parampara. And a parampara is necessary for the truth to descend in its pure form. We are in the parampara known as the Brahma Sampradaya, and we feel very fortunate to receive our knowledge through this lineage. So none of this is my opinion. I'm just passing on this eternal science. So, ideal society, that's an ideal idea. It's like almost a dream, Of course, a society is just made up of the people who are there. And so, for there to be an ideal society, there has to be ideal people. There have to be people with ideal understandings of life, with ideal convictions, with ideal desires and motivations. See, their desires themselves must be of a high caliber, etc. If you have a society made up of people of this ilk or caliber, then automatically the society will be ideal. No question. See. But because it's not like that among us members of society in general, then we've got a chaotic society. We've got a society that's causing so much stress and pain and suffering and anxiety and disappointment and despondency and feelings of helplessness and loneliness in its members. This is not good. See, it's causing people to actually experience life as being nothing more than a struggle for existence, and the experience of life for many people is hell. It's just not even worth living. That's why suicide rates are higher than they've ever been and continue to increase. And unfortunately, this is most prominent among young people. When, their bodies are young and healthy, they've got a future ahead that, seems like it will be many, many years. And they should be feeling enthusiastic about progressing, moving through life in a happy mood. What their experience in the short time they've been in their bodies is it's not worth living. Might as well give it up. There's something wrong here. There's a big flaw, a fundamental flaw that is causing these results. Now and more, there's protest on every issue. There's an issue comes up and there's somebody, a group of somebodies that opposes this idea. Maybe it's a law that's been passed or whatever. And so they just create a big protest, and they all come out with the ideal idea. Oh, it's going to be a peaceful protest to express our views, to get a point our feelings and our wishes and demands. Peacefully, we will convince people that what they say or do or what has been done is wrong. But is it remaining peaceful? Of course not. It's now turning into more and more violent protests, on the highest level, looting. I mean, they loot like unbelievably, destroy property. Many lives are being lost now, it seems like, continuously. In not only one country and one place over one issue, it's spread out more and more and more across the globe, in wealthy countries, the most wealthy countries, in poor countries, and everything in between. The educational levels are very different in different places, and the results the same. Some come from a population of a highly educated society. Oh, high degrees and so on. Others are very, very, poor and, very meager education, but the results the same: chaos, confusion, quarrels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fundamental flaw. There's something really wrong here, and the attempts to solve it. Everybody knows it's not good. Everybody knows this is not good for anybody. We want a peaceful society. We want a calm, stable society. We want a caring society. We want a society where people actually are friends. And, not only just in this country or in this country, but it should be universal, should be all over the globe, a feeling of brotherhood, friendship. Now we're in human bodies. So we should see ourselves, this is our connection, on the material level. Hey, we're all in this together. We're all humans on one planet Earth. It's just like a bunch of people living in a house. Hey, we're all in this house. Let's get along. Well, we got a big house here. We got the globe. It's divided up into many rooms, countries, and many different leaders in many different rooms. I'm the president, I'm the prime minister, I'm the controlling personality here. I'm the monarch, I'm the Lord, whatever. See? But if all the leaders are on the same agenda to bring harmony and peace and prosperity, etc., for the members of the society, then where is the necessity for conflict? See, we can all work together, you know. And, we all know that would be great. But does an ideal society really exist? Is it, you know, even a hope? Or is it just some utopian dream that is just that, a dream, you know? So we must go to this Vedic knowledge and learn some basic truths of life. The basic truth of life is our identity. We are not our material bodies. I've explained this in every lecture I've given through your programs. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because most people have heard it before. If not, maybe you can refer to other lectures and get a more full explanation. But the concept is we are not our material bodies. We are the life force, the person inside our bodies. We all know we're people. I know I am me, you know. This is who I am, but I identify with my body, and that identity, makes up my belief system of who I am. I'm a male, I'm from this country, me personally. I'm a male, I'm from America, I'm, 70 plus years old, mother and father were, this and that. I've got an education, to this level, and I'm a parent and I am a yoga and teacher and instructor and in the philosophy of life, et cetera, et cetera. And, that's all true in connection with my body. I weigh a certain amount, I'm a certain, height and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not who I am. That's what my body is. I'm not my material body. I'm actually the person inside this body. And we learn through our Vedic knowledge, we have two bodies, the physical one, which I just referred to, but also we have a mental body. That's the realm of the mind. It's called the astral body. Some people refer to it as the psychic body. It's a subtle covering of material energy, subtle material energy over me. This is the body of desire and will and feelings and emotions, and et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people will go a little deeper when they start to search for who they really are and come to the conclusion, this is who I am. I'm the inside me. But it's not true either. That's just the second layer or layer of clothing. The Vedas describe it as clothes. The outer body is the outer layer of clothes. The inner body is the inner layer, underlayer of clothes. We are spirit soul, completely different category of energy, not material, but spiritual. Spiritual energy and material energy are very, very different. Material energy is temporary. That's why the body's temporary. That's why we're always struggling to keep it alive, you see. And the human form today, in this age we live in now, is, destined to only last about 100 years at best, you see. And of course, very few people make it that far. The body is temporary, but we are spirit, and spirit is eternal. So matter is temporary, spirit is eternal. So I'm eternal, see. No beginning and no end. I didn't begin somewhere and I'm not going to end somewhere. Ever and ever. See, never was there a time when I did not exist. Never was there a time when I will cease to be. That's eternal. That's who I am. Material energy is non-living, see, and that's also very obvious. Like We got this couch I'm sitting on and a microphone. I don't know what you can see in the screen. This shirt, whatever. It's all material energy. There's no life here. You know, I'm not trying to keep my shirt alive. You see. But spirit is life itself. There's no such thing as live matter. There's no such thing as dead spirit. See, we're the life force in the body, and as long as we're present in the body's called alive. But actually, that's not true. The body's dead. We're alive. And that's why at the time of death, when I leave my body, that's what death is, I leave the body, then the body shows its true nature. Can't even sit in a chair, falls on the floor. See? Yes, we are the life force in the body. So our true identity, when I say our, I mean all of us, not just me, all life forms. Ruben's sitting right now beside two beautiful plants, and they're real. I asked him, and he confirmed they're real plants. Okay, so that's a living entity. That is a spirit soul inside that particular plant body. It grows, it gives off carbon dioxide, it takes in oxygen, living. But when the soul leaves that body, just like when the soul leaves my body or your body, then there will be no life. That plant will die, wither up very quickly, and go back to the dirt, just like we do. The body is temporary. We leave the body, it's gone. So, our true identity is spirit soul. Spirit meaning we're spiritual in essence, soul meaning the individual spiritual spark that we eternally are. We never become someone else, and we never cease to exist. Now, we also learn not only am I a spirit soul, but I'm a part and parcel of the supreme soul. There's a supreme soul from which we all come. We are known as the Atma, and the supreme soul is the Paramatma. This is foundational knowledge that everyone must have to have an ideal life. And if everyone operates from this platform of understanding, guided by the Paramatma, the supreme person, the person who is the cause of all of this, the person who actually is, the source of all knowledge, understanding, the source of everything good, you see, et cetera, et cetera. If we let that supreme person with supreme intelligence, supreme compassion and mercy and care and love guide our life, then we'll have an ideal life. And that means what? We'll be happy, we'll be peaceful, we'll be calm, et cetera, et cetera. That's the bottom line. But it's not like that. So therefore, we've got what we've got, wars, conflicts, and now the big story with climate change, and that's a big subject I'm not even going to touch. But the point is, we're trying to figure it out. We're living a lifestyle of consumption, of exploitation, abusing nature, throughout the world in so many, unacceptable ways. And yet, we're trying to solve it and keep the same kind of lifestyle. It won't work. It can't work. There has to be a change, a real change in our mentality, in our consciousness, in our vision, in our understanding, in our desires. I want to read from our main scripture in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhakti Yoga, which is the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita has been declared as the supreme book of yoga. And, there's a chapter 16. This is a conversation, by the way, by the Supreme Lord and his dear friend and disciple, Arjuna. This is an ancient text. It's well known throughout the world of people who have knowledge of these different, things, these subjects. So in this text, of the Bhagavad Gita. This is text number 1, chapter 16, if anybody would like to refer to this. The Blessed Lord said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity and simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion, freedom from covetousness, and gentleness, modesty, and steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy, and the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Now, you find me one quality that's listed here that is not desirable. One quality that's a bad one. One quality that you would think, well, I don't like that. I wouldn't like to have that quality. Let me put it to you like this. If you wanted to marry somebody, would you not like to have a person that possessed all those good qualities as an ideal partner? Or the chapter goes on to list the qualities of not the divine, but the demoniac. Anger, envy, greed, jealousy, envy, lack of compassion, self-centeredness, false prestige, etc., etc. Would you like to have somebody with those qualities? See? So make a decision in your mind right now. Would you choose the person with divine qualities or the person with these demoniac qualities? And of course, everybody would say, that's a no-brainer. I don't even have to think about it. I want this person with these divine qualities because I know they will treat me in a very, very nice way. Every one of those qualities will be attractive to me. I can feel safe with this person. I know there won't be conflict, you see. Freedom from anger, freedom from envy. That was two of the qualities. Forgiveness. All these qualities, amazing qualities, produce amazing results. So the relationship would be so good. And if there was any conflict, it would come from me who don't have these qualities. I would be the cause, not the person who has these divine qualities. And if I was associating with that person, I would also begin to develop those qualities. Because association means we take on the color of those we associate with. It's said in the Vedic scriptures, if you associate with saints, you become a saint. If you associate with rogues, you become a rogue. That's how it is, you see. So this is the foundation for an ideal society. We are spirit soul. Do not forget this. The soul by nature has all these qualities. These are the qualities of the soul. We are parts and parcels of the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is the supreme perfect person. Therefore, in our pure, uncontaminated state, we have all those qualities. But when we cover ourselves with all these contaminants of the material influences in the material world, you see, then we take on these non-desirable demoniac qualities. See, love is a foundation of life. See, it is part of my nature, but the love has been perverted. And now it becomes lust. Love is giving, lust is taking. Greed comes from I want everything. See, I want to enjoy everything, including the other people. I want to control them. I want them to do my bidding. I am in the center. My will be done. See, no humility, but arrogance. Arrogance is the predominating mood. You see, we're the best. We're number one. I'm number one. And if you're like me, then you're good. If you're not like me, you're not. Of course, again, back to bodily identification, according to the race and the nationality and the gender and, even family feuds that go on for hundreds of years sometime, you know. So we cannot expect anything but what we have right now with this kind of prevailing mentality. There has to be education. It said knowledge of the Vedas. You know, we have to learn these truths. We have to learn I'm not the body. We have to learn I can be happy only when I am receiving spiritual inspiration, when I'm seeing others as who they really are, spirit, soul. I'm not seeing black and white and Asian and this and that. I'm seeing a person just like me. See, happened to take birth this time in a different kind of body. They were born in a different country, in a different race. Certainly, their culture is different, their families are different, their belief systems are different, you see. But we're the same. We're spirit souls. We're not all of these labels, these coverings, these temporary identities. Hmm? There's a big, uh, I would say, discussion to make it light, discussion of which society is better, a, a capitalistic society or a socialist society, which is the better one. Mm. And some people are saying, no, socialism is better. Some people say, no, capitalism is better, et cetera, et cetera. And this has been going on for a long time. Mm. But what you have to understand is, we're basing this all on material considerations. Socialism, should Big Brother, the government, some personality on the top, the king or whoever, be in control of everything and just met out, what they want us to have? You can have this amount of material goods, you can have this amount of money, you can have, this kind of housing, but we'll make it so everything is basically equal. We'll take care of your basic needs, your food, your shelter, your clothing, your medical needs, et cetera, you know, and you can all work for us and we'll give back to you. And this will be an ideal society. But they already tried that. It wasn't ideal, you know. That's why it's not still existent, say, in the Soviet Union. It wasn't perfect, you know. And of course, the capitalism is the opposite. Each person for themselves. Make yourself who you want to be. You can be whoever you like. We'll come together. We'll elect leaders who will support our desires. You see, we will, decide who has control and who doesn't. And we will create, you know, laws that fit our desires. Mm. And if somebody is in a leadership position and they don't agree with us, they don't produce what we expected them to produce when we gave them our vote and put them in office, then we'll just throw them out or we'll have protests and rebellions. We won't accept them as an authority. We won't accept anybody's authority who doesn't do what we want done. And of course, you've got all these different factors, and everybody wants everything that's different. I want it to be this way. I want it to be that way. Following material desires, you see different degrees of lust and anger and different coverings of consciousness, et cetera, et cetera. And so, how are you going to have any peace in that way? You know. So if we have a society where people have ideals from inside, see, moral principles that are instilled in them from birth by parents, teachers, the spiritual teachers, etc., that this is right, this is how it should be done, all based on absolute truth, the scriptures, but not, sectarian belief systems, absolute truth, same throughout, all the different systems of belief, so to speak. There's a core here, there's a common thread of truth, and all the great teachers that many of these belief systems, they call them religions. It's not true religion, but it's a belief system, are basically coming down from an original person who taught the absolute truth. You see, Lord Jesus Christ, the Christian teachings spread throughout the world are based on his teachings, correct? But he wasn't a Christian. There was no such thing as Christianity at that time. All he did was teach the absolute truth. He didn't teach Christianity. He taught honesty. He taught caring. He taught virtue. He taught religion, religion on the true sense of the word. He taught be a good person. The 10 Commandments. Again, a teaching that came down. We're basically just moral principles. Don't steal, don't rape, don't covet your neighbor's wife, and don't lie, and don't murder, and all these things. I mean, that's just basic moral principles that anybody should want to emulate. It's not some deep philosophy. It's just, you know, don't do those things because they're dark. They don't produce any good results in society. You see, there's principles. Now there's this demand that there must be secular societies. That means separation of church and state. There can't be any mention of or emulation of spirit or religion. Let's just say religion because that's the word they use. There can't be, any foundation of or emulation of religion in government. A secular society, separation of church and state. But they've misunderstood that whole concept. That was originally implemented to keep one religion, one belief system from dominating the whole society. No freedom of religion. See, you can't believe like this and believe like that. This is the only way you can believe. You see, the church, quote, church, belief system, the religion, was in control, and you had to surrender to that belief system, you see, basically by force. But so therefore that wasn't good. I mean, and so they just said, okay, we can't mix religion and politics or religion and government. There has to be two different things. Secular societies where it's not about religion, it's about laws. Okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is the law, that's the law, and so on and so on. And man-made laws based on, the people who believe we should be allowed to do this, and so on. So, therefore, we wind up with a basically atheistic control group, no God involved, no following, these eternal principles of truth that make it so people become really, really from the inside good people. So where do you learn all these higher ground principles? Where do you learn what is right and what is wrong? In institutions of spiritual teaching, churches, mosques, temples, synagogues, etc., etc. But if you remove those from society, which is basically now, a big movement, just get rid of all of that, then who's going to follow what? You know? See, there's two kinds of control. Think about this. There's two kinds of control on an individual. There's internal control and external control. Internal control, that is meaning I have principles. I have, virtue. I have, understanding of what is right and what is wrong. I have a desire to do good things, not for only for myself, but for other people. I have a desire to follow these eternal principles of truth given to us by God Himself, coming down through perfect teachers, coming down through Scripture. See, I learned from that. I developed that kind of consciousness inside, and that becomes who I am. So I don't have to be told, don't steal, because I don't steal. I don't do that. I don't have to be told, don't lie, because I don't do that. I don't have to be told, don't go around, trying to find your pleasure in, somebody else's wife. I don't do that stuff. It's not attractive to me. It's against my very moral code. I have an internal compass, and that compass doesn't point me in that direction. I don't do those things. You know, I'm not, a person who's running around angry, trying to exploit and dominate, other people. I feel compassion for people. I feel compassion for their sorrows and their miseries and their difficulties. I want to help them, et cetera, et cetera. That's internal. See? And a person is controlled by that. So he reflects that in his everyday life. If I don't have that, and then if I don't have that, then I'm also going to reflect the other side of that, the dark side, where I am controlled by envy and anger and greed and jealousy and arrogance and disrespect, you see, etc., etc. Then what? Then, of course, that's not good for society, right? So then society, quote, has to have an external force to control me. Police, armies, you see, strict laws, threats of years in prison, you see, all these things to control me externally. But without the internal control, you can't hire enough police. You can't hire enough, controlling forces on the outside who in and of themselves are corrupt in the same way. See, the people who are supposed to uphold the standard of society themselves are corrupt. That's why we have so much corruption in the people who are supposed to be protecting. You see? Because it's the same across the board, whether you wear this uniform or you don't, whether you, have this, gang symbol on your arm or you have another kind of symbol on your arm, on a uniform. If you're corrupt inside, you're corrupt. It doesn't mean everybody that's in these different positions is a good guy that has compassion and mercy and care and, feelings of love and want to help and really want to provide. Some do, and some do not, you see. But you'll never have an ideal society trying to control it and make it ideal from the outside. It has to come from the inside, you see. So back to this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, all these qualities, see, should be cultivated. That's the system. Cultivate these good qualities. Let's just look at a few. Purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. And I'm not talking about just cultivation of some, sectarian belief. We're right and everybody else is wrong. There's absolute knowledge. Again, look at Jesus, Muhammad, all the great teachers who came and taught. They didn't teach some sectarian, we're exclusive. They taught everybody should emulate these teachings. Everybody should possess these teachings because these are the things that please the Supreme Lord. This is what keeps us happy. This is what keeps us in union with the Supreme Lord. People think of yoga as just some, Eastern exercise system, or just some, people who, you know, may wear weird clothes and live in caves, or whatever their concept of yoga is. But yoga means union. That's what the word means, union. Union between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. And what is that union? Becoming the Supreme Soul, merging into the Supreme Soul? No. Union in will, union in desire, cooperating, see, on the platform of loving service. See, it's a loving exchange. I want to please you, and the Supreme Lord, being the source of all love and care and mercy and compassion, wants us to be happy and truly satisfied. So you have this symbiotic relationship between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. When love fills the heart of the individual soul, see, because now there's a connection between the source of love and the recipient of love. So when the heart is filled with that undying, pure love, then what do you want to do with that? Give it to other people. You want to give it to everybody, not only the people who are in your group, not only the people who may think like you do, or look like you do, or have the same color body as you do, you see, or on the same team as you're on, you know. No, everybody. And the vision expands even more, and you see all life forms as just simply like you, spirit souls, but in different bodies. Just like, again, back to the plant beside Reuben, That's a person. That's a spirit soul, just like you and I are spirit souls, who happen to have appeared in this lifetime in that particular life form. So you want to extend your love and compassion to that person too. And with advanced knowledge, you know how to do that. See, you know how to actually make it so all living entities can be spiritually purified. They can make spiritual advancement. They can receive the spiritual love and mercy of the Supreme Lord, you see. So there's no room in your heart for anger. There's no room. It's been kicked out and replaced with love. There's no room in there. There's no room in your heart for covetousness. There's no room in your heart for, greed. You already got everything you want. You're satisfied. You're happy. What is a greedy person? A person who's empty. And he's just wanting to bring everything into his domain that he thinks will make him happy. See? Whether it be money, whether it be power and control, whether it be exploiting people for sensual pleasures, whatever it is, you see, he's greedy. And so, therefore, he can't look at a person with love. He looks at a person with the vision of exploitation. You see? If a person's greedy for money and he's a timber person, he can't look at a forest and say, wow, what beautiful trees. So nice trees, they, been here so long, they're old, and, they're supporting the ecosystem. And no, he looks at it and says, look how many board feet of lumber's in there. We could cut all these trees down. Each tree's worth $1,000. There's unlimited numbers of trees here. My pocket is getting fat just thinking about it. Let's do it. You see? The rainforest. Oh, beautiful. So much diversity of life in the rainforest. You see, in fact, most of the species of life on planet Earth, live in the rainforest. But what does the person see who's greedy for material gain? He sees, oh, if we cut down these rainforests and graze cattle on this area, and when the land will no longer support the cattle, we'll just cut down more forest, so we can sell the cattle and make a lot of money and, McDonald's will be happy, and everybody will be happy. The cows aren't happy. We're destroying the lungs of the planet. You're talking about climate change. Look who's fueling it. The greedy people. The people who have no compassion. You think there's compassion and mercy for the person who's growing these cows, to slaughter them. There's only just money there. It's not a person. Is it just, X amount of dollars, on four legs? It's crazy, because this is their internal world. This is how they think. This is how they are. This is their consciousness. But if you bring that love, which I've been referred to, into their life, it kicks out the greed, it kicks out the darkness, it kicks out all the evil intentions, which is so destructive, and brings in mercy, compassion, care, love. If you have people like that, responsible leaders in society, responsible leaders that have these qualities, or at least some of these qualities, and have, even if you have a few of these qualities, you're way ahead of the game. See, if you have responsible leaders in these positions of leadership that have control over the lives of people in many, many ways, see, they determine what's going to happen to the individuals, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 20 years from now. See, if you've got responsible leaders, they're going to lead responsible people in the right direction. See, the Vedic system of society is the ideal society. It was implemented thousands of years ago, 5,000 years ago, when this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. You see, that Vedic system of society was intact. And it was a worldwide system of governance. And the kings, they were kings at that time, were responsible kings. They were called Rajarsis, saintly kings. They had this knowledge, see, cultivation of Vedic knowledge. See, they were trained their whole life in being in this position. They cared for the citizens as if they were their own children. See, and they didn't see the citizens only as those souls in human bodies, but all the other people that they had jurisdiction over, the animals, see, the plants, everybody, Mother Earth herself, all. They cared for, they took care of, people in the proper way. So there was material prosperity and there was spiritual prosperity. The result of a person taking birth and living in that society was spiritual growth, simply by being a member of the society, you see. And that is the goal of human life, to grow spiritually more and more and more, gain more and more of these qualities of goodness. Here, Lord Krishna calls them transcendental qualities, you see. And these qualities will make it so a person becomes more and more godly. He describes it like that. Belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. You see. God is not a bad thing. God is perfect. Godly qualities are perfect qualities. A godly society is a perfect society. And a demoniac society with demoniac qualities of the individuals involved is what we're going to find. Hell in every way. Quarrel, chaos, confusion. Everybody's afraid. People are afraid to go out. They don't know what's going to happen next. They're afraid of the bad guys and they're afraid of the supposedly good guys. Now, many people are afraid of the police. They're afraid of the controllers, supposed to protect you. They're afraid. I was in a country one time and there was a political situation that I knew about. It was going on, and there was, some conflict on political levels. And this person who was in the police told us, some friends of mine and myself specifically, if you got a problem, don't call the police. That's what he said. If you have some problem, don't call the police. Who are you going to call? Like Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Can't call the police. You can't call the gang members. You can't call the crooks, the hoodlums. Who are you going to call? God, please help me. It's an individual thing, though. It can't be done from the outside in one respect. You can't. There's a word I don't find right now in my mind, but anyway, you can't do this from the outside. It must be done from the inside. This is where the work needs to be done. Why is it people are acting so crazy and so heartless, and so demoniac? Because that's what's inside. You're only going to reflect what's inside. If you're dark inside, you're going to be dark outside. If you're light inside, you're going to be light outside. It's going to be reflected through your eyes, your policies of life. And you don't have to be a political person to have policies in life, a code of conduct to live by. There was a group back in the 60s, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And they had a very, popular song at the time, hit song. It said, "You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by." A code, an internal code, that you live by. And if you live by these codes of godly qualities, then that's who you are. That's not who you're trying to, that's who you are. But it's got to start somewhere. Every one of us has to start somewhere, seeing the value of this and cultivating of this. Everybody's trying to go in big groups and change things, change the government. Okay, we're going to get rid of this guy and put this guy in. We're going to throw these laws out and put in these laws. We're going to demand that you do this and you do that. You see? But you've got another faction over here that says, no, we're going to demand that you don't do this. And you see? And there you go. It's not going to work. It can't work. You can't do it from the outside. It has to be done from the inside. And this starts with the responsibility of parents. Parents have been given, by the Supreme Person, a certain individual soul to take care of. See, they've been given this person to take care of. This is your responsibility. The Vedas state very clearly it's the responsibility of parents to train their child materially and spiritually. But to be able to train a child spiritually, you have to have spiritual training yourself. It has to start somewhere. So if I'm going to be a parent, I have to take the responsibility. Okay, I got to learn, how to teach my child. You see, we've been following this Vedic knowledge for many years, you see, and gain this information, gain this not only book knowledge, but desire to implement it, to actually pass it on to others, to live a life that reflects this, you see, that represents this truth. And people can see the value of that, An interesting story. I'm running out of time, but there's an interesting story that really impressed me. It wasn't long ago, maybe 6 months or 8 months ago or something. In New Mexico, which is one of the states in America. And so there was a person from Hispanic background, many Hispanic people, Mexicans, live in New Mexico. And his grandmother was a very devout Christian lady. I assume probably Catholic because Mexico is predominantly Catholic. So she had basically raised him. So she instilled in him her values that she had learned from her faith, studying the Bible, etc. So he was 19 years old. he went to a ready teller to get some money out to buy something for a person he wanted to give something to. He wanted to give something to a person, charitable. So he went to get some money from the ready teller, what they call ATM machine. And he noticed on the ground an envelope. He picked up the envelope and opened it up, and it was full of money. He saw the envelope. Of course, there's temptation there, right? Nobody's around. Anonymous envelope, no names, no nothing. Cash inside. So he looked at it, but he said, my grandmother taught me this would not be right for me to take this money. He remembered the words and training and teachings of his grandmother. So he called the authorities and told them, I have found an envelope full of money. Here, I'm at this location. They came there and he gave them the money. When they counted the money, it was $135,000. He was that close to $135,000. He may never see $135,000 in his life. He could have put it in his pocket. Nobody would have known. He could have hid that money and doled it out slowly, and nobody would have suspected. He wouldn't have gone out and bought a Ferrari. Just take it easy, take a little bit, and he'd have been fat. But he didn't do that. He didn't want to do that. He never even considered doing it because grandmother had taught him that's dishonest. Always be honest, tell the truth, don't steal, don't lie, and your life will be better for it. So that's what he did. Well, the people in that community, and probably because I read it on the news everywhere, I was impressed, And the local police and the government were so impressed that they gave him a new car. Some car dealer gave him a new car and some amount of cash. I don't remember, some few $1,000s, just to reward him for his principles that he had embedded into his heart from his grandmother. This is how it starts, you see? Somebody who's responsible instills this into others. If it starts at childbirth, great. Many of us, I was given that opportunity myself because I was raised in a Christian family, and they also imbibed exactly these teachings of honesty and, compassion and all that. I had a good example. My father was the most honest person I can imagine, you see. But the point is, it has to start somewhere. And it's not going to start with riots. It's not going to start with protests. It's not going to start with looting. It's not going to start with gangland killings and murders and, National Guard forces and armies and, new stricter laws, or throw away all laws and let everybody do whatever they want. Get rid of all laws. Either way, it's just going to lead to hell. It's already led to hell, and it's just going to continue. People can't even come together with enough respect and concern to consider to figure out, what's the best policy here to do with COVID. Some want it one way, some want it another. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you. And now this protest over, this COVID thing. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Go into lockdown, don't go into lockdown. It's more passion than science in many cases. And it's just beginning, my friends. It's not going to end. Building bigger weapons is not going to solve it. More nuclear capability, longer range missiles, bigger armies, more, ways to kill each other. That's going backwards, you see. So the Vedic principles, which are, Veda means truth. Don't get me wrong. Veda is not a religion. It's not just another bunch of religious sectarian beliefs. Veda means truth. It's universal truth that applies across the board. You implement those universal truths into life, to governments, to societies, and you'll have what you want. See? And the people who don't want it, they will fade away because the strong voice will be dominant. The good will prevail kind of thing, you know. Just recently in America, I don't want to get too much into politics, but some of these things are so exemplary. They just did elect a Supreme Court judge. You know, in America, that's a lifelong position. There's 9 judges, and you know, when things go through courts, higher levels, ultimately it comes to the Supreme Court, and they have the final word on whatever is being decided. So, you know, this lady she was nominated by the president as a candidate for this position because the previous judge that held that position died. So, you know, there has to be a decision. Will she be allowed to do it by the Senate and whatever? It's a whole story. Doesn't matter. But one person in some position of authority, he's one of the authoritative, you know, voices, said, and it's, by the way, let me add a little more. She's a Catholic, a strong Catholic. She openly displays her Catholic affiliation and beliefs, and that's what she is guided by. So this person said, anybody who in this position who makes a decision in whatever case it is that's being brought forward, makes a decision on this case based on religion or scripture, that should be an automatic disqualification for them to have that position. If you're going to make a decision based on scripture, that is an automatic disqualification. You should not be allowed to be in that position. Meaning you got to make your decision based on atheism, based on your greed or desire or envy or anger or frustration or how you see it. Nothing to do with God and the absolute truth. And that's a disqualification. This is where it's at right now. And you've got these voices speaking out loudly, and, you know, we'll just use the word bad side. Their voice is always the loudest, always, you see. And as the normal becomes more and more left, means more liberal, more crazy, more atheistic, more, you know, whatever. You see, yeah, that the norm always moves further and further left, you see. There's no hope for an ideal society, no hope. So the future for your children and your children's children is getting darker and darker, you know. So as individuals, we have to change ourselves. I'm not saying form a group and go protest anything. Form a protest within yourself. Protest against your internal demoniac nature. Try to emulate these divine qualities. See that as what I need to do as an individual, for myself, for my family, for my country, for my, you know, earthlings, for all living entities. This is what I need to do. This is my part to play. You see it from that angle and then begin to do it. See, don't sit idly by and let all these things just, you know, go over us and bury us underneath. You know, become active within, and that will reflect without. You see, internal control is the only control, and that should be controlled by the Lord in the heart. The Lord speaking to us. If we're receptive to his message, he gives us guidance. He gives us information. He gives us motivation and inspiration. He gives us conviction. He gives us understanding. He gives us everything we need to become an ideal, as it's described right here, godly person, endowed with divine qualities. Okay, time is up. We could go on and on. But I want to do a very quick meditation at the end, because these mantras, this meditation we do, and the Norwegian meditation centers and those like in UK and Canada and all around the world, which are, disseminating this information, they are places where we can find the opportunities to engage in these mantra meditations, these purifying. What was one of the things? Purification of one's existence. The mantras do that. They purify us from the inside. See, that's where the work needs to be done, and the mantras work there. Okay, so the mantras go Ranga, Hari Bol. I'm going to chant. Everyone listen. Then you can respond with my friends here at our Chintamani studio, and I'll listen. Meditate on the sound. Oh, Ranga. Haribol. All right, so that's the meditation technique called Sankirtan. And again, on any of the websites that you may be connecting with now, you can find recorded Sankirtan. I have, several websites or YouTube channels and so on. So it's available. You can contact Ruben, get all the information you need. I'm sorry, but I do have to run. I got another program in 4 minutes. So, thank you so much for listening. If I disturbed you in any way, I'm sorry. If I gave you some things to think about, I'm happy. Ruben, thank you very much for inviting me, arranging everything, and we'll be in touch. Namaste, Haribol.
Namaste, Haribo. Thank you, Balakhilya. Always good to see you. And thank you. All right. Thank all of you so much for joining us. And if you'd like to see more of Balakhilya and follow him and have more inspiration, then he also has a YouTube channel called Happy Man. So if you search on YouTube Happy Man or Happy Man Balakhilya, then you can find him. And the link is as well available on yoga meditation stream. So yeah, all the best. And in a week's time, we're going to have chanting relaxation evening on the Sunday night will be Yoga Sound Sunday. So that will be, yeah, music and guided relaxation, sort of a breathing technique with Balakhilya, you can say. So happy to have you here and wish you all the best and to see you soon.